Today we're going to talk about financial pros and cons of having a corporation, LLC, or staying as a sole proprietor. So let's get into it. When you open a corporation, the corporation will be called C, and that's you registering it with the state. Now, C corporations are humongous companies like Walmart, for example. Me and you are small potatoes compared to Walmart, and we should not be taxed at the same rate that Walmart is getting taxed at, and we should not be held to the same standards as a huge corporation could be held to. So you need to go to IRS website and fill out for S status, and that basically tells IRS I'm a very small potato, please treat me like one. There is such a term as pass-through taxation, and really what it means is that taxes that the company made don't really get taxed, they just get passed through to your personal taxes. So if you're an S corporation and you made whatever, $50,000, the corporation has to pay tax on that, and then when they pay you, you also pay tax on that. So it's like a double taxation thing, where if you do an S status or when you're LLC, you go by the pass-through taxation laws, and you don't have to, the corporation doesn't have to pay taxes. You just transfer all of that onto your personal taxes. Just like you would with sole proprietor, you just have to fill out section C on your tax returns. And the same thing works with LLC. Now, if you have more than one owner of an LLC, then LLC also would have to pay taxes. But as long as there's just one owner, LLC does not have to file taxes. Those taxes are treated just like sole proprietor. It goes through to your personal taxes. What is the benefit though of having corporation versus sole proprietor when it comes to taxes? So when you're sole proprietor, there's no separation, right? Everything you make, it just goes into your personal taxes. Therefore, nobody really pays any unemployment taxes, any social security, any Medicare taxes for you, where your employer usually would be contributing that portion. When you're self-employed, you are your own employer. There is really nobody to contribute that. So when you go and do your taxes at the end of the year, you will pay 12.4% for social security and 2.9% for Medicare, I believe. That is your self-employment tax. You must pay that. Corporations can pay dividends to their shareholder, and they don't have to pay self-employment tax on that dividends. So there is sort of a loophole to avoid that tax. However, there is a law that says if you perform more than minor tasks for the company, you're considered an employee, and therefore you must be paid salary. So you can't just draw dividends out of your company if you're doing all the work. However, you can tell yourself that my salary will be $35,000 and the rest of it will be my dividends. And that's going to make a difference in that self-employment tax that otherwise you had to have paid when you're a sole proprietor. So let's say you're making $70,000. And you will take 35 out of that 70,000, and you're gonna pay yourself salary, and on that salary you will pay self-employment tax, and then you're gonna take the remaining 35,000 and you're gonna pay yourself dividends. What will that really do? That will save you about $5,355 because you only had to pay that self-employment tax on the 35%, on the 35,000, sorry. So if you are planning on making a lot of money, and this is, you know, of course our goal for everyone, that is something to consider, because you could avoid that self-employment tax on anything above your salary. So again, if you just started, or if you're not really, you know, making 100 grand, there's really not that much savings in there for you, because by the time you pay additional expenses that come with having a corporation, you're going to eat up some of that savings. But if you're making a lot of money, eventually you're gonna get to that point where having a corporation, paying yourself dividends in addition to your salary will actually bring you a benefit because you're going to save on that self-employment tax. My point for all of this, oh, and there's one more thing I want to mention. So sole proprietors, where we are when we all start, right? Corporation is kind of right there. In between is LLC, and LLC stands for limited liability company. So it's basically a hybrid between the two. You get a little bit of liability protection with LLC, but you don't have to pay taxes like a corporation. So you don't get that self-employment tax break or anything like that. It's kind of both worlds. Very easy to do. To get an LLC, you don't really have to fill out any fancy forms when it comes for taxes. Therefore, you don't have to pay all those extra fees to your CPA. Gives you a little bit of a liability protection. So those are the facts. Weigh them out yourself. My personal opinion or advice, do not start out by running and getting a corporation before you even sold anything. You don't need it. Get into the business, sell for a few years, get your feet wet, figure out your bearings and your grounds and where you are, and then reevaluate the situation. As long as you keep everything you spend and as long as you keep everything you make, whoever's doing your taxes will figure it out and will still do the best outcome for you, hopefully, if you have a good tax guy. We will, because taxes are coming up, you know, end of January, beginning of February, we're all gonna have to do them. We will be talking about taxes a lot. I will be doing a lot of videos on expenses and different loopholes, and as resellers, what can and can't we deduct. I might even do step-by-step online tutorial for section C, depending how much interest there is in that. I could explain every section and tape my screen while I'm doing that. Let me know if that's something you guys want to see, but definitely like the video so I know that this is the kind of material you want to see. Leave me comments with what exactly you want me to talk about. I will be happy to, and subscribe and hit the bell because I'm really trying to do this regularly, like at least once a week, maybe twice. And you guys were so good last time holding me to time to make a video, Emma, chop chop. And I really do appreciate it because we have to push each other. I hope you're having a fabulous week. I'm off to have dinner with some Instagram girls, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.